Allowed. Hey, it's me, Harris. Apparently it's darker when I'm far away from the computer. I guess. Can you see me? See me now? Okay, good. Um, I did find out the thing about genetic testing. The genetic testing is from Ancestry DNA, and you and me, 21 and me, they both actually offer at $99. Before it was at $1,000, but before that, I actually passed my mind. Today is April 16th, 2015. This is my daily video. This is not brought to you by anything except for me drinking a lot of water. Water, it's good for you, unless you take too much, and then you might die from it, like anything else. But I'm gonna try the genetic testing maybe sometime this weekend. When I get the results, I'm gonna share it with you. And what I think and what the actual results are, maybe two completely different things. So the thing that I wanted to talk about today that's on my mind is that it's been everywhere that people keep on talking about the minimum wage, and this is my thoughts on it. I don't like getting political most of the time, but it's kind of pertinent. People have two different views on it. It's either from the side that you are a minimum wage worker and you are a person who is not in the minimum wage world, used to be part of the minimum wage world, and don't believe they should be paid that way. Here's the thing about minimum wage and how I look at it. It's not a minimum wage issue. It's a living wage issue, which is something completely different. The whole point is they're asking for 15, but there is no reality where they actually get paid 15. Now, raising the wages for a living wage should be done across the board. So, if a person who is working retail is getting paid at least $10 or $11 an hour, in order to make even half or 60% of the rent in order to live in where they are living is feasible. Because right now, as it stands here in New York City, the minimum wage is about $8 at 8.25, and that is not a livable wage. And what people don't realize is that a majority of jobs right now are actually being lowballed to a point where you are only paying the minimum wage, even though your skill set and the amount of work you're doing actually garnered you to be working for a higher wage. And this happens everywhere, especially in places like Times Square in high volume businesses. There are very few exceptions to the rule, like Apple as one of those major companies which they pay their workers their worth. Now, with that being said, if you're going to raise the wage for minimum wage, all wages have to go up, a little bit, and businesses are scared of that because they don't want to pay extra. Now, here's the thing that is kind of weird because most businesses don't operate on a 300 to 400% profit margin. Like, in Walmart is one of the biggest examples. Their profit margin, they for every one little thing, they're not making 100% extra on their profit margin. The profit margin is from 1,000 to maybe even 5,000% of profit. So you have such a huge gap in how much you can actually pay and how much money they're earning, and it does not go back to their workers. So paying for benefits and things like that makes no absolutely any sense, and not to raise the thing. And the excuse of saying that they cannot offer more jobs is BS. Most businesses actually could pay higher, they just wish not to. And for that, you got to change the legislation a little bit and have a little bit more government control, which then lawyers can be like, no, we have kind of a laissez-faire thing going, and there's a precedent set in order not to deal with businesses. And that's the bad thing about the law. Once you set a precedent, or you set something that's already happened and has been accepted once, you could build that as a foundation of your argument in order to get away with whatever is going on right now, unless if there is such a huge rights violation which fosters it to be changed dramatically. And that doesn't happen very often, ladies and gentlemen. So, the thing about minimum wage, I believe that all wages should be raised across the board, except for one thing, except if you are salaried. Why do I say not for salaried? Because when you are salaried, you are under a contract, which means even if you are laid off, you are guaranteed money and a pension. Now, if you are an hourly worker and you are laid off even for jobs that are at will, you could be let go for any reason, and you are not guaranteed unemployment. So that little bit of money that is actually taken out of your check, even though it pays for unemployment, you have to go through lengths most of the time, and for a good chunk of the population, to prove that you have been laid off, not only by your own accord, but to prove it to the state, which they can feasibly deny, and then you have to go through an extensive appeals process if you're denied even once. So, minimum wage. Ignore it. That's not the real argument. It's everybody's wage has to go up because the cost of living is so high, especially in urban areas. Now, if you do a standard across the nation, different places are different things. But the most places that people are protesting are places where the cost is so high to live that they could work 2 to 3 jobs on minimum wage and still can't afford to live anywhere on their own or even sharing an apartment. Right now here in New York City, a studio apartment on average goes from anywhere between 1,800 to 2,200. 1,800 to 2,200 a month. An average minimum wage worker makes less than 300, about $220 a week before taxes. So think about that. If every 2 weeks a person is only collecting about maybe $380 to $350, that means $700 a month after taxes in order to pay their rent. They have to work 3 jobs in order to even cover that. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. No, I got that kind of wrong. And a full-time minimum wage, oh, that's even worse. Now, employers will hire you at minimum wage, but not give you full-time hours because they don't want to pay health and benefits. So now you have to work part-time jobs. So feasibly, you're making about 7.5 hours a day on modified full-time. So roughly, you're making maybe like $60, $70 more every month. So 140. So that's $890 a month, still nowhere near on 2 part-time jobs. Even at 3 part-time jobs, adding another $350 on top of that is not going to help. So my whole idea is that everything across the board should be gone up. That's my views on it. But until next time, keep on smiling and be a better person than you were yesterday. See ya.